Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Hunter's Dreamcast. This is, of course, a podcast series where I discuss various topics whilst I can't roam around this beautiful location known as the Hunter's Dream because, unfortunately, if you do follow my YouTube channel, you will see an update video soon by the time that this goes up saying that something has gone wrong with my monitor, so we're just going to have to look at pictures today, sadly. But getting back to the podcast at hand, I did a video, I believe, last year, around September, talking about, why people don't leave the ghetto, and that was pretty much in response to, all the current events with the BLM and all their bullcrap. And, I also realized that I never really did a, full-on podcast about, why that's the case. And so, let me just, kind of go more into detail with that as someone who actually currently lives in the ghetto and whatnot, and I live in Liberty City and whatnot, one of the most infamous cities in America. So let me just say this. I have lived in the ghetto all my life. Now, if you listen to the way that I articulate, if you listen to my speech, you will understand that I sound nothing like someone who is, air quotes, from the hood and whatnot. And I just want to clarify something right now. Being in the hood does not necessarily equivalent to having melanin in your skin, being black, as they say. I just like to air quotes that because, as far as I'm concerned, melanin in your skin does not make you a different race, but that's an entire other can of pickles that we can get into in a future podcast. So, what I'm trying to say is, just because you are in the hood and whatnot does not necessarily mean that you need to sound like you are in the hood. And with me, throughout my entire life, I pretty much avoided this the best that I can, and I pretty much got away with it during, I believe, elementary school and a little bit of middle school, as in 6th grade. And from there, I just kind of got bullied a bit during the 7th and 8th grade because of, the school that I attended to was, a really bad ghetto school and whatnot. And so, since I wasn't talking like them, they thought I was being uppity. And when I got to high school, I went to a really bad high school and whatnot. It was called Carroll City Senior High. And that school was literally on the news, darn near every time. There was shootings, drug deals, all kinds of stuff going on. So, yeah. If I were to speak how I am speaking now, the people there will assume that I'm trying to be uppity and that I think I'm better than them. So I adopted the dialect from them. And so yes, there was a point where TCD was, talking hood rat. Now, I can't emulate that now. It's been so long, and thank God that I don't have to, because I freaking don't like it and whatnot in the first place. And just having to endure that for up to 4 years was crazy, which is why I was like, once I graduate, I am never talking like this again. It's just not happening. So, I really don't even think I could. But the point that I'm trying to say is, just because you are in an environment does not necessarily mean that you have to emulate that environment. Now, there are certain circumstances where you emulate it mainly to protect yourself, but you're not doing it, again, because you want to in that instance. You're doing it more so because you have to, Excuse me as I take that sip of water. But the fact of the matter is, that's just, my current experience with that, and I kind of want to go into details about, afterwards, because the main thing that we're talking about is life. Now, the main problem when it comes down to people in the ghetto is these people just don't really want anything for themselves. That's pretty much the main way I can put it. No matter how much BLM wants to, throw racism and, the white man got me oppressed, I can tell you right now, no, that's just not the case. These people really don't want anything for themselves. Throughout school, most of them are convinced that they have two options to follow in life. Now, that option is either to be a rapper or to be a sports player of sorts, whether it's basketball, NFL, or something, because they usually aren't going to be playing soccer. It's mainly basketball or NFL. Now, these people are convinced that, that's just their only two options in life, and college is, just really just not within their league, so to speak. Now, what they don't understand, again, is, your school may get you, through, high school and whatnot and let you pass because you're on the team, but college is not like that. College is more so concerned about your money, and so if you're not doing well, you're not just going to get a free pass just because you're on, the college team or whatnot. I mean, I'm sure that there are certain instances where that's the case, but that's usually not the case for most colleges. So, they get used to the idea of breezing through high school and whatnot, doing nothing, and when they get there, they don't have any real way to cope with the fact that now they actually have to study and stuff like that. So that's one of the things. And it's just simply because they don't really care for education. Throughout the entire time that I was in school, most of them were just doing bad, and they were just they could do better, but they chose not to because they just wanted to do stupid stuff, where that was just talking throughout the entire class or whatever. And it really got so bad to the point where, like, the teachers, like I said, you know, in the previous video that I probably link now if you did not see that, had pretty much just given up on them. And rightly so, in the sense that, you know, if they're not going to and I'm not going to, then I'm not going to waste my time and, you know, raise my voice. I'm just going to whatever. And they just passed them because they were like, God forbid that I have to deal with them for another year. And so they would just pass them. And so, like I said, you know, they just go on throughout the grades just not learning a thing. You know, now I just want to say, for example, like, I don't really, you know, say, oh, school is the end-all be-all. You guys know how I feel about school. You know, there are plenty of things in school that you're just not using on a daily basis. I mean, right now, I'm just thinking about, like, you know, for example, I am not writing, you know, like, a whole bunch of essays every now and then. I mean, I write up, like, little things to discuss and notes in here and there, but I don't, you know, read that like verbatim. And it also doesn't matter where I have the comma, or if I have commas at all, or even if I have a single period throughout my entire you know, like, little thing that I'm reading off of, you know, because at the end of the day I'm not turning it into someone. So yeah, so I'm not gonna pretend like, you know, school is the end all be all and, you know, everything that we learn in school is something that we can translate to IRL. But I am going to make it seem like, you know, that doesn't necessarily change the fact that, you know, there are certain skills and mindsets that school, you know, encourages you to have that is very good to have today, like work ethic, for example. School does try and teach you, you know, have some kind of work ethic, have some kind of schedule, dedicate your time to work, and then do stuff like this. And that way, you can, you know, you'll have a bit more, like, order in your life, in the sense that, you know, you take the time to focus on important tasks, and then you can, you know, do what it is that you want to do. And that's one of the things that school did leave on me. But unfortunately, like I said, for most people, that's really just not the case. For them, they are convinced that, you know, like, you know, school is just completely irrelevant, and there's nothing that they can get out of it, and so they just don't take it seriously. And so they just say, well, I'll just get this kind of job, I'll do this. And so, unfortunately, for the most part, you know, they just end up, like, in, you know, a really just unfortunate job. They're either working at Walmart, they're either flipping the burgers at McDonald's, or, you know, maybe they're driving some kind of truck, or they're at a warehouse or whatnot. Now, this wouldn't be a problem if we were in a economy where you actually work and you can make a living. But unfortunately for these people, not only do they have that going against them, where, you know, we aren't paid enough to make a living, they are also convinced that I really hate this. And let me just say this: it's one thing to like fashion. It's another thing to literally be convinced that if you do not have, you know, a name brand item, that you are just like this, that, or the other, you're so blah, 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 blah. And in the ghetto culture, oh my goodness, you have no clue how stupid it is. If you are not wearing True Religion, if you are not wearing Nikes or Jordans and stuff like that, you know, like, these people mock and whatnot, and I'm like, you know, this is why you're in this position that you are in right now. First and foremost, you're in a freaking, you know, bad job that's not paying you much to begin with. And then you have the gall to take what little money that you earn from that and spend it, like, on $300 pair of shoes. Why would you spend $300 on shoes that cost around $30 to make in freaking China with slave labor, and they freaking shoot the prices up, and it usually isn't even more durable than some of the stuff here that you could probably get for like $30. It's literally not more durable. I'd wager that sometimes it's even less durable because they want you to have to buy more shoes from them. You know, like, I have an entire, and get this, it gets worse, because as they continue to, like, you know, expand their shoe line, right, there are literally so many instances where someone has an entire closet full of shoes that they wore, like, once and never wore them again. They wasted all of that money on shoes. I kid you not, can literally have sometimes up to $5,000+ of a closet full of shoes that they wore, like, once or twice. And that they won't wear, like, again, because I need to get the new stuff, bro. You know, like, that's literally what they're convinced that they need to do. So you have them making little money and then making stupid decisions with the money that they get. That's just shoes. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room: drugs, mainly weed. I hear so many people tell me, "Oh, TCD, you need to relax," you know, because it's just grass and whatnot. Okay, pal, this is the thing: you're not in a position where you can afford to be spending, you know, stuff on grass. This stuff isn't free. That's why it really cracks me up when, like, these people try and make it seem like, oh, someone's got me oppressed. It's the man that's got me down, alright? You've got yourself down, pal. If you're out here saying that you don't have enough money, but you can spend $300 on shoes, a pair of shoes, and then you can go around and on a regular basis get a good-sized bag of weed, what are you talking about? You know, like, what are you talking about? This is where your money's going. Instead of you investing that in yourself, instead of you saving that up, you're just doing that. And I can tell you from personal experience, I can walk by a house every day, and usually right in the morning, weed. That's what they're doing. You don't see this person leave the house to go to work. You don't see them to do anything. You're just doing their business, just weed. That's that. And that's a whole other thing. Let's talk about the unemployment. Let's not talk about just about the people that actually, you know, work and whatnot, make stupid decisions with their money. Let's talk about the people who aren't employed at all and still make stupid decisions with their money. So let's talk about the people who just don't work at all. The people, like I said, who really just don't want anything for themselves. They have literally gotten to a point where they are just comfortable in the sense that, you know, I just get my food stamps, I get my cash assistance, and I'm just doing this, you know. For the most part, they're usually just like, you know, hanging around at you know, a corner store or something, like just drinking and getting high. That's it. And unfortunately, you see that a lot. You know, you see that a lot. They're just there, you see them on the porch every day, and that's just all that they're doing. It's either they're on the porch or they're on the corner store. There's no drive, there's no motivation, and it's crazy. Now, let's talk about the people who actually try and do something, but it's illegal. Let's talk about the drug dealers. Now, here's the funny thing. They are so well organized to sell drugs that, you know, one of my main questions that, you know, I have for them is, you know, why don't you just start a business? If you can be so organized to do something illegally, why don't you just start a business? You know, I'm sure you can think of something, whether it's a food truck or, you know, something. You know, a janitor service, something. But instead they sell the drugs, and then they end up getting addicted to them themselves, and they wreck their lives that way. You know, it's just ridiculous. Like, these people are so organized. Like, I can pass a certain corner right now, and I can't tell you just how organized they are with the drugs. They stand out that corner, someone keeps watch for cops. Sometimes when the cops are like driving by, they act like they're just, you know, having a party. These people are organized, okay? They know what they're doing. They're not stupid by any means. They're smart in the sense that they know what they're doing is wrong, so they know how to cover up for it. You know what I mean? They're not completely, like, you know, retarded or anything. So I have to give them that. And so my biggest question is, you know, why don't they just take the time to do something productive? Maybe start a business and whatnot. If you can be organized to do crime, you can be organized to do something legal. You know, that's something really big. And now let's talk about another really, really big problem. Let's talk about the perpetual cycle about why people just won't leave, for instance. Let's talk about the freaking looseness in the ghetto community. I cannot begin to tell you how awful it is when I see someone, like, encouraging themselves to be loose. When you have guys saying, oh, you need to get some pussy, bruh, and you got the girls, you know, just talking about, like, all they're doing is, you know, twerking and whatnot, because it's all erotic with them, right? This is why you have instances where it's just bad. You know, it just ends up really bad. The teen birth rate in the ghetto community is unparalleled. I really just don't know any other group, unless there is just a group where it's like a culture where, like, they're just marrying at a teenage, and at that point I don't really think that's worth talking about, because, like, that's just a culture marrying at that age, and so obviously kids are going to come from that. But in a culture where, again, you know, it's like Western culture where you have the possibility to go to work and whatnot and try and make something of yourself, and you are getting pregnant at a teen age, it's far less excusable. As I take this sip of water, it's far less excusable, and unfortunately, it's at such a rate that, like I said, it's really just practically unparalleled. Like, I know that, like, you know, teen pregnancy is a thing even, like, in, say, a suburban neighborhood, but, like, I'm telling you, folks, the rate that it's in now, the amount of girls that I saw in high school that, you know, got themselves knocked up was just... like, it was just unbelievable to, like, see some of the people who, like, knock these girls up and say that's literally a father. That's a father. Some goofball that isn't even doing well in school, has no drive to work, is always smoking. That's a father. And then, unfortunately for that, I think about the kid, you know? Because I'm not with these people that say, oh, just kill the baby. She's just problem. That's why you know you need to just kill the baby. No. That's you being stupid and saying, I want to live a loose lifestyle and whatnot, and I want to have sex, and don't you tell me it's my body, it's my choice, and we're consenting adults. And you're a consenting adult until the kid comes. Because when the kid gets involved, then dad leaves, and he's just left mom all by herself until she either, gets him with child support, or he just says, oh, I'm unemployed, and so they can't really do much to him when he's hustling on the side. And so, unfortunately, that puts the kid in a really bad position, and even if dad's there, usually dad's freaking abusing the kid. Because his life is crappy, and so he takes it out on the kid, because he made stupid choices. And worst of all, neither dad or the mom chooses to take responsibility in this situation. There are so many instances where a freaking young mom, right, is literally saying that it is not her fault that she has gotten pregnant. There are so many instances where a guy is making it seem like it's not fair that, he has to be a dad. And I'm like, who forced you guys to stick your genitals in each other? Seriously. Who forced you guys to do it? Like, hey, let me know. Is there some psychopath that I need to watch out for who's going to tie me up and, cause me to forcefully have sexual intercourse with a woman and knock her up? I need to know if that's the case. I need to be out on the lookout, and I need to spread the word, hide your kids, hide your wife. Because someone's out and they're just going to, force them to, have intercourse, and so that they get knocked up. What a villain. But unfortunately for them, that person doesn't exist. You know why? Because that person is them. That person is them. And they refuse to take responsibility of their actions. And when you have an instance where someone is a parent, and the main thing about being a parent is being responsible for a kid, and they can't take responsibility for what even led up to the kid, my. What a situation for the kid to be in. And I'm telling you folks, it's bad. It's really bad, because they don't learn the first time. Oh no. I can't tell you how many people I know who have literally had, I kid you not, 5+ kids. 5+ kids for the most that I've heard so far, personally, in the Ghetto community. Like, the most that I've seen, someone had 7 kids, and they were all young. That, I'm guessing, was literally like a kid a year. A kid a year. 7 kids, I kid you not. It's not like, like they were just sharing the house, and, that's like nieces and nephews or something. 7 kids, all from one mom. And right as like I was counting the 7, she had an 8th on the way. Stupid choices. You play stupid games, guess what kind of prizes you're gonna win? Stupid prizes. And unfortunately for those kids, they're going to be in a position where there's just not much that they can do. And since mom, the most that's really going to happen is at least they'll be fed. But when it comes down to actual money, it's just not happening. Because, food stamps are these people's, go-to thing. And since, I guess, y'all have 7 kids, you might literally have, I don't know, maybe 1,500 in food stamps. It can be pretty crazy sometimes. And that's sometimes why they have, at least 3 kids, just so that they can be comfortable, in the food department. But when it comes down to everything else, there's just nothing that they can really do. A room, a bed for all of them? No, it's not happening. You're gonna have to share a bed. These people don't think about what they're doing. They don't think about the lives that they're going to give on those kids and whatnot. And so, since that's all that they're exposed to, and they're exposed to a parent that isn't working, and they're exposed to a freaking deadbeat dad that's probably just slouching around too, they don't have work ethic. They think, okay, that's what mom and dad do. They just don't really do much, and so when I grow up, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to care about school. I'm not going to try and, dedicate myself to a craft. I'm just going to do nothing. I'm going to smoke weed all day. I'm going to knock up chicks, and just live comfortably. What's the point of trying to get a job when I could just live in the ghetto and know that my food stamps are being paid for? Never mind the shootings. Never mind the gangs. It's fine. And like I said, this is a cycle. This has been going on for generations. It's not the man that has them down. It's themselves. It's the morale. It's the way that they think. The mental state is what's leaving them in these positions. And the main thing that I hear about celebrities that end up really good positions and whatnot, and that beat the odds, right? The main thing that I hear is that they need to do something about the ghetto community, and that they need to do more. No, they don't. I don't owe these people anything. They don't want to do anything with their lives, but then they feel like when you get successful, you're obligated to do something for them. No, they are obligated to do something for themselves, which they don't do, sadly. They don't even feel obligated to do anything for themselves. You know? And so they feel like, you know, like someone who breaks the odds has to do something for them. No. The main problem with these people is that they want a handout. They feel entitled to just getting something when they want it, not working for it. They just get it when they want it, and that's that. And that's not how the world works. You don't get something for free just because you want it, contrary to what this generation in general thinks. You know, I see so many stark similarities between the ghetto community and, like, this young generation now. Like, I know I may only be 22, but holy cow, I'm telling you folks, in my mind I must be at least, like, 30 or 40 or something. Because I do not think like these kids. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. But getting back to what I'm trying to say at hand. With this kind of mental state, with this kind of thinking, this is never really going to be broken. There's just nothing that I can say to that. You know, when you have groups like BLM acting like, oh, we're going to do stuff and this, that, or other. No, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. They're just getting themselves richer off of the emotional state of people pretending to actually give two rats about the ghetto community. And that's pretty funny because, you know, I don't see BLM, like, you know, trying to come through, like, ghetto communities and, like, clean them up or anything. You know, they're marching in cities where people actually do things with their lives, and they go to the suburbans as if, oh, no, you need to do something. Like, just the other day, right? Just the other day, I was talking about this BLM thing in Texas. Like, that's my most recent video. Some guy in the comments, I kid you not, BitChute. So, I kid you not, BitChute. Literally said that someone needs to hand over the reparations for slavery. And I just responded to him like, are you honestly still telling me that you're with BLM, that you guys deserve some kind of payoff? You know, like, this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is the mental state. Handout or nothing. Don't tell me to work. Don't give me the tools that I need. You know, don't give me a livable wage. Just give me a handout. That's what they want. They don't want to work for anything. And that's why they're not really going to go anywhere in life. You know? They don't even have the decency to, like, just show a better way. Like, I'm in the ghetto, but I'm not speaking ghetto. I'm not acting ghetto. My mental state is not ghetto. It's one thing to be in this position, because, believe it or not, maybe you just can't afford anywhere else. That's fine. That would be one thing in of itself. But to literally just be in this position, and to embrace everything about the position, and not try and make anything better for yourself, this is why you won't go anywhere. Plain and simple. You'll always look over your shoulder, wondering if someone's going to shoot you for that money that you weren't able to pay back. You're always going to look over your shoulder, wondering if, I'm behind on my my money to these drug dealers and whatnot. Or you're going to have to worry about hitting the debt when a car drives by. This is the life of these people. It's terrible. It's sad. But at the end of the day, I can't necessarily say that it's not deserved, in the sense that I'm not saying that I'm happy that they're going through this, but their decisions have led them to this. No one has forced them to make these decisions. They feel as though that it's inescapable. Yet they choose to actively embrace the lifestyle. If you feel as though something is inescapable, there are still certain things that you can do within that position that you don't have to, you know, obviously embrace. Obviously, for one, the mental state. You know, if you feel like it's inescapable, yet you still adopt the mental state, why would you adopt the mental state? You know? Why would you not want to try and work? Why would you not want to try and want something better for yourself? Or hone a skill or something? You know? It's inescapable, but you're just going to stop trying to escape? You know, like, it's ridiculous. When you ask them, you know, like, they have the similar story. You know, well, I got pregnant, I needed to, you know, step up and be a dad. What little dad that was, considering how the kids turn out. Or, you know, oh, I needed to stop because I needed to be a mom, and then, you know, one thing led to another, and so I had another kid, and another. It's the same crap over and over again. A perpetual cycle that will not be broken, because, frankly, they don't care enough. And like I said, in this kind of instance, the people who suffer the most, to me, are just the young generation. because this is the only thing that they get exposed to. Kids are sponges. They are going to emulate what they see, the adults do. And when they see the adults not working, when they see the adults just focusing on, doing drugs, just focusing on selling drugs, and, just collecting, food stamps and, like, unemployment. When that's all that they see, that's just what they're going to become, for the most part. My mom wasn't like that. My mom may have, collected food stamps here or there, but she was working hard. She worked 2 jobs, to try and take care of us. She accepted responsibility for the fact that, yes, she made a hasty decision, that led to her having to take care of 4 kids. But she did not use that as an excuse to just sit by and just collect food stamps and do nothing. She went to work. She worked 2 jobs most of the time, trying to afford something for us so that we can, at least get the materials that we need in school. And she was so hard on us to, finish school and focus on school, focus on stuff that's important. And, I stand before you right now, virtually, of course, saying, hey, yeah, I still may be in the ghetto right now, but you better believe I'm not going to stay here forever. I'm actively looking for work. I'm actively looking to hone skills. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing video production and whatnot. I'm not going to be here forever. Why? Simply just because of the mental state. Simply because you want something better, And even if I wasn't able to, be on freaking Dubai or something, which I wouldn't really care for. I'm not really interested in becoming super mega rich or something. Just being away from this nonsense. Being able to just walk down the street without having to worry about a freaking car coming around and just randomly spraying you. Being able to just walk and just see people that actually have decency, that's going to be well worth it. With what I'm tolerating right now. But unfortunately, again, for the people here, they're not going to share that mindset for the most part. You're going to have few and far in between people that are actually going to try and want better for themselves. And so the cycle of the ghetto loop will continue. It's a freaking time paradox. That's what it is. It feels like a time paradox. They see the decisions, they see what the decisions lead to, and the consequences of the decisions, and they say, you know what? I'm sure that once I make that same choice, it'll be different. I'm positive. So I'm still gonna just, go around and focus on, having sex really early. I'm sure nothing will happen. I'm sure I won't get knocked up. Bada boom, they get knocked up. Bada boom, they can't really graduate school. They're stuck at a freaking terrible job. I'm sure that, I'll still, have enough money, even if I just buy, like these $300 pair of shoes. I'm sure it'll work out this time. Doesn't. Never does. It's really sad to say that these people's biggest enemy is themselves. And until they learn that, again, this problem will never resolve itself. But they won't, because accountability today is just no. And even before then, accountability was bad with them. But in today's day and age of eternal victimhood, when you've got groups like BLM out here and whatnot, you better believe it's even worse now, because the message that they are saying is that you are a victim, it's not your fault, when in a lot of these cases, within I'd say 99.99% of these cases, it's their fault. So I hope that I got my point across. I know it kind of feels like a rant, but I'm very passionate when it comes down to stuff like this. And so I just want to share with you guys, this is the kind of a reason. This is why these people don't leave. So I just hope that I got that point across to you guys. I think I'm actually going to post this on BitChute and YouTube. I don't care what they do on YouTube or whatever they say, because at the end of the day, nothing that I said here was false. I'm actually living in the freaking hood, so I don't want anyone trying to tell me, something that I'm saying about it is wrong when I see this stuff on a daily basis. But as always, rate the video what you think it deserves. Tell me what you want to see in the future in the comments below. Feel free to check out my amino in the description, as well as my YouTube channel in the description. I would like to thank you all for watching. God bless, and I will see you next time.